So, hello, my name is Trent Smith, and today I'm going to be teaching you about neural networks. Neural networks is a very important concept when dealing with computer science. It allows for a large data set to be able to search through the data set in a much faster sense, in my opinion. Generally used for is when you have two pictures and you want to find a picture that's within another picture. So to do so, you might want to break the pictures you're looking for into smaller bytes and then just have a neural network connect through the different bytes. And if you have, say, there's not two, let's say you have 5 different pictures you want to look for. You can break it all through a different soups, and based on it, you can find the similarities between each one, and then just loop through the next one to figure out which type of picture it is. So say you could have in one node, so say you have ear, and then you have eyes, and then you have mouth. This is not going to be realistic, but just per se. And you have hair, and then that. So here would be like one example of what you could use. You can say if you find an ear in a photo, you could check for eyes. Once you check for eyes, you could check for a hair, and then from there you can check to see if it has a mouth. And if it doesn't, that means it doesn't have eyes. It can go off that. So that's one of the generally good uses of neural networks. Now, with that being said, it's very easy to implement. The only major issue you might have is when you have a large data set, you might have trouble, trying to get all like data in there and whatnot. But generally speaking, it's very easy to implement. So the first things you want to do is first you want to create a class called Node. Within here, you want to have any data you want. And you want to have, with it, you want to define a node next, which is pretty much going to be in reference to the next one. To the node that's going to be next after the head node. So look at this picture right here. So, So you have your data right here. And then from the data, it's going to have a reference to the next node, which is going to have next to the next node. Now, in this regard, this is how you're going to print it out, which I'll show you this next in the next tutorial. But pretty much this is how it works. So it pretty much it keeps going a bunch of two different references. In a way, it's a lot like a recursive function where it keeps calling it. But that's how it generally works. Now from there, the next thing you want to do is you want to find your head node. Now this is going to be the very point. So going back to the example when I was talking about picture and stuff, so the head node would be the ears. This is what would be the first thing that it will check when you're looking through a data set. It's like, alright, so it has ears. What's going to be next after it? It could be many things. Ears, mouth, yada yada yada. Alright, so from there, you can, that would be your head node. So the next thing you want to do is you want to have a function called push. A way to get the data onto the neural network, because some of the things you might want to do is you might want to train your neural network, because there might be a lot of things that you don't know, you might not anticipate, and you can actually build a neural network to help, deal with some of the situations. So you might want to add different nodes for different type of situations where it might not be the best. So the first things first you want to do is you want to have your node and your head ref, which is going to be the node that's going to be put into there. It's going to be, I think, after the node that's in there. Next, you're going to have the data. From there, any data you want to put in there. Next, you just define a new node, and then from there, which is right here, define a new node with the data. And then from there, you want to say new node next, which pretty much you define the next node to create the new head reference. And then from the head reference, you just create a new node within there. So pretty much what you're saying is that you're saying, alright, so we want to put the head reference into the next node of the new node. So you're creating a chain link which will go in there. Next, you want to have the new node be equal to the head reference to the new node. What this is doing is that it's setting up the new node that you just created to be the head of the neural network. Now, this is just one of the ways to go about it, but for our sake, just to keep it simplistic, we're just going to keep it like this, just to get so that you guys get a more basic understanding. And if I talk about the different ways to do this, it's a little bit overwhelming. Well, it's not overwhelming. It's more, there's a lot to talk about, something I might not be able to discuss in like 10 minutes. So I figured this would be the best way to show you. But going to public static void, we can create a my class M. So next is you probably want to implement it, right? You did all this work, you created it, you made a push function. The next thing you want to do is you want to create the neural network. So for the class you just created, I did this in the main. Now, typically, you might not want to do this, but if you're doing like an API, if you're working on backend, you develop a neural network to implement the SQL Server. You probably want to create a neural network first things first in the controller. But if you guys want to show that, I can definitely show that to you guys sometime. But for now, we just say my class M is equal to new my class. From there, you could say my.m, which is going to define the header, and then we could say m.head.next is equal to new node. Now this will create a chain, which would be new node and 3. Now, for the push function, I didn't implement this yet, but what you would do is you would say, alright, so I would want to implement a head and a next function. You'll put a node between head and next. You'll implement the head function, and then you would say push into the head, and then that will be able to update it. I hope you guys learn a little bit. I apologize if I'm not the best explaining this, but I saw a lot of tutorials where they just find what neural networks are, but they never really went into depth about how they work or how you would make one. So I figured it'd be good to create something a little bit simple to show people how it's how it'll be done and a simple way about going about it. So I hope you guys learned from this tutorial and have a great day.